You're listening to the Unpenned Show with Paul and Andy, broadcasting live around the world. We believe freedom is free. It is enslavement that you're paying for. If you ain't mad by now, you're not paying attention.
My name's Paul, and I have with me...
My name's Andy.
Okay, we are here live from our North Yorkshire headquarters, Battlestar Galactica. Here we are then. Welcome to our show, our story, our presentation, and what we have to share. But isn't life just one big story?
Yeah.
Isn't the Bible the greatest story ever told? Hasn't the stage been set for us to watch the stories being unfolded in front of our very eyes?
I think so.
Don't we have a story of God and the devil?
Yep.
And isn't that the stage, the first stage that we were ever asked to sit down in rows and watch the show? Isn't that the indoctrination that we were given?
Yep.
And isn't that very story just the first step on the manic confusion of media services we are bombarded with today?
Yep, certainly is.
Isn't that just where we've got to from the start to where we are right now? It's just a pile of building tall stories, each one of them with a flaw in it.
Yes.
Because they're not bloody true.
They're not true, no.
Welcome to the show. It's the Unpenned Show with me, Paul Rippon, and my pal Andy. We've been doing this show for quite some time.
We have now.
If you're listening on YouTube, the Facebook connections and the way to messages will be below this YouTube video you're now watching. A very good evening to Phil, who is our VT editor. He corrects me, fills all the gaps in, takes all the rubbish stuff out that we cock up when we go along,
Yeah, he does.
and puts any links that I mention below the video as well. So a very good evening to Phil, and thanks to everybody else for listening. It's working, isn't it? We're attracting new people
We are.
to us.
We
This
said-
very evening, I'll knock on the door. Hello, my name is... Won't give you that now, don't need it. Hello, my name is... I've heard the show. Marvellous.
Yeah.
A start. Our
It's-
group is... It's
it
only
is.
6, it's only 7, and Phil at the other end, it's maybe 8.
8, yeah.
If you want to be 9 and you want to be 10, get contacting us.
Yeah,
Okay, we're smack bang in the middle of North Yorkshire. If you can look at the map of the UK, work out where the middle is, that's where we live.
we do.
Alright? If you're close enough, we can say hello, we can meet up, we can have a
could.
chat, come for coffee, we'll come to you. This
done-
is all
We've
about...
done that before.
It's all about making connections.
Yeah.
And it's real connections, not fight book connections.
No.
Alright, use this as the very tool that they're using against us. This spy grid that we've maintained and paid for, this hear all, see all, omnipotent, omnipresent, godlike bloody machine that is going to really live in our houses. And we've invited it in.
Google,
And we bloody love it.
Google have said, haven't they? It's
The
the
mind
new
of
God.
God.
The mind
We're
of
building
God.
the mind of God.
My God.
Yes, exactly. It will be your God. I think we had a guest on who said,
No.
this is a God-given creation.
Yeah.
You see how we're being fooled.
We
You
certainly are.
see. I mean, when are we ever going to understand that what we think is going on above us, what we think the class and the super class right at the top, what we think they are doing, especially on the darker side of life, is what we're meant to think they are doing.
It is.
Because guess how this works? Monkey see,
Monkey
do.
do.
So when they tell us that they're practicing Satanism and all sorts of child paedophilia, well, I don't know if they are or they aren't.
No, we
but
don't
I do know a really too big cross-section of the slaves, which is what we are, don't kid yourselves. They'll say, if it's okay for them, then it'll be okay for us.
Yeah.
Right? They'll say, if they're doing it, that must be the way to get on. The fact that they're teaching 5- and 6-year-olds the basic sexual names, and the fact that 8 and 9, they're showing them method, okay? And then we wonder why at 10 and 11, okay, they're going to actually be doing it. Well, that's their education complete, as far as the slave training centre's concerned, because that's all they'll be interested in.
Yeah.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And what will you be? What will sign of nature be? It'll be your right forefinger print. Welcome to the show. Hello, everybody. Okay, now we did have a theme for this evening.
We did.
Which I am going to put my hand up and say I didn't do the research because a surprise guest arrived. And one thing and another, this sounds so pathetic, I haven't done my research.
No,
but
that's all right.
You go with it because
I did.
You've made all them notes, and if we get past half of those notes...
If we get past half, that'd be brilliant.
I'll shake your bloody hand. Go on, get started, because this is going to be mostly your show. Get started.
Well, we discussed last week, touched on a little bit, about the Germanic language that we're in. And there is some debate even in the universities, and it's the Nottingham University, which is the School of English Studies. And a chap there I found was a guy called Rory Byrne, and he has done a thesis or a dissertation, that's a good word, or a theory, a paper, written a paper about whether whether the English language is a Germanic language.
Well,
and whether we're ruled by the Germans.
Our research confirms that this may be true, but go on, you go.
Right. Take you back. I did a little bit of research today. Research, that's a good word as well. We love that one.
Which means that it wasn't lost, but
it wasn't lost, but
yeah.
And it's just somebody's version of I own. I must admit, I didn't get a chance to go to the library. I would love to go to the library and got out the books and everything, but we are lazy. We do it all on the internet. And I did it. I was very, very lazy. I did it all on the internet, so I can only go by what that is. But going back in history, we were Celts. In England, we were, as history will have it, we were running around with blue faces, loincloths, and killing each other. Now then, about the 5th century AD, they were called the Germanic tribes. Mm-hmm. And the Germanic tribes came from a place called Angles, which is now Denmark. Yep. North Germany, as we know it now, yep, which borders onto Denmark, which were mainly Saxons. And the other tribe were I don't know how to pronounce it, whether it's Jutes or Utes, okay. Jutes, which was sort of Sweden.
The reason is that the J and the Y is, as Jehovah and Jehovah will confirm, yes, interchangeable.
And it can pronounce H as well. Yep. It can be hoots.
You're absolutely right, yeah.
So, and Spanish does get involved there a little bit as well.
Yes, us, it does. Yes, us, we say Jesus.
We do.
But it's Jesus.
It's Jesus.
It's Jesus or Jesus.
Jesus, which means yes.
Which means it's us.
Yeah. And another decode is yes. We're saying yes all the time. So Denmark and North Germany, they came over, they invaded us, and people can look it up. It was the Teutonics. They've got a name for it, Teutonics. And it was a mixture of French and Latin, and North German, and Celts and Swedes, Norwegians, Danes and Finnish, and they're linked, those names that I've said, they're linked to the Aryan race. Mm-hmm. And this is what Hitler got fixated on. And the Teutonics goes back to the Vikings as well. And people in history, yeah, come on, leave some comments on YouTube.
Vikings is 6 kings, isn't it?
Yes. It certainly is. Well, and they developed a Old English. It's Old English that they developed, and I've looked at document because I'm in business for myself. I'm self-unemployed, and the S's and the F's were interchangeable in that language. And in 1066, we got William the Conqueror. He was French, so he came over. He jiggled it about a little bit, and he decided that we needed an upper class and we needed a lower class.
That's the word wisdom, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is English class is the word wisdom.
Mm.
Uh-huh. Carry on, sorry, I'm just...
Wisdom.
Yeah. Why is.
We are the Why is gang.
We're the Why is gang. We're trying to be the WYSC, but we're currently the WHYIS.
Yeah, yeah. Now then, the Old English, the two words that we still use from Old English, mainly, the two words are strong and water.
Wow.
They are the Old English, and the Old English is spoken until about 1100s. Mm-hmm. So, which links in with 1066, William the Conqueror. He split the language into French and Old English. Yep. The peasants spoke the Old English. The French, the upper classes and the business classes, even were called then the business classes. Yep. They divided the French and the English, and they stole a little bit of French and Latin, and made a language that the peasants couldn't understand. Uh-huh. And this is where the division started. Divide and conquer. They knew it even back then.
It's just a reorder into league and division.
Yes.
It's a system of tabling.
Mm.
Okay, and we have the Premier Division and the subdivisions afterwards.
We do.
And to reorder league and division is to shorten that word into religion.
Religion.
It's just a religion.
It's just a religion.
Isn't everything a religion? Isn't everything, because it's nothing but a belief system.
Uh-huh.
And the belief system, the positive is that it is, but the word holds belie.
Mm.
Obvious or oblivious? Do we see it, or do we not see the lie? Because if you can't see the lie and oblivious, then it's not obvious, is it?
No, it isn't.
No. We've done that talk before.
You can find that on
Talk,
YouTube.
we did that talk last April. It's on this YouTube channel. It's about maybe 10, 12 sort of back, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And we have on the 26th of March, which is 2 weeks from tonight, we have a guest who does understand our Oceania decode to at least the level that we do. And that show is going to be, the listeners, many will call it just a play on words. More, I hope, more than the many who just call it a play on words, will get something much deeper out of it. It will appear to them, it will appear, okay, that they're not getting in deeper, but those that know what appear really is will walk while knowing that they're getting in deeper.
In deeper.
So I hope that works. I hope that
Yeah.
in a couple of weeks' time we do get the decoding of the language part 2. Why it really is Oceania, and I've butted in like I knew I would. I don't mean to, but I can't help it.
That links into Oceania. They did use the word ocean way back then. It's not a new word in ocean.
There is no new words. Matrix isn't new. Matrix is womb.
It's womb.
Okay, we're going to be reborn again, but they're going to remake us in their image.
Yep.
We don't understand this, do we?
No.
This template, this 2,100 year sort of template, 2160 template.
Yeah.
They're bang on time to put us back in the Matrix,
Back
to
in-
genetically engineer us in the uterus, the womb.
Back in the salt fluid.
That's
that
right.
you kept in.
That's right. They put us back in the bubble, and then we're born again. Okay. We're falling into the land of dreams.
We are. Absolutely.
And only sleeping people dream. And look around. No one's kicking out. No one's kicking back.
No.
Because they haven't woke up from the dream. The only thing that wakes you from a bad dream is to fall or drown.
Drowning, yeah.
And they don't realise they're falling or drowning. Otherwise, they'd be kicking back. And they would wake up. Carry on.
Right. So the ocean, it was called the ocean. It wasn't called the sea. Sea came in later.
Well, the word, the Holy See, is a Vatican connection there. If you just research the Holy See, S-E-E.
S-E-E.
Because the duality didn't come for a little while yet, did it?
No.
The duality came with the cross from French to English.
English.
And the duality was brought into being. And now I'll let you carry on.
It was spoken into...
Yes.
We speak everything into reality.
And people don't realise how that works. But let me give you an example. When you're 3 years old, you speak that Father Christmas exists.
Yes.
So he exists in your house. And all that you speak to when you're 3 confirm his existence. And reality puts him in shopping centres and schools and parties. So you know he exists. But when you're 8 or 9 or whenever it is you discover the illusion, you've now just been taught a very important lesson of how reality can be doctrinated.
Yeah.
Okay? That is what's happening to us here. They put it into our vision.
In plain sight.
And, yes, and then make us say it.
Yeah.
And now it's real. They know it isn't. Yeah. I'll give you an example. Money. Money is an example of an illusion.
That is the new Father Christmas.
That we all believe is real. I'll put you another example in, all right? Another example is religion. All right? It's an illusion that you need it to live properly. They provide the rules that you didn't know you had to live by. And if you make mistakes, you have to apologise, pay them for the service of putting
Yeah.
it right with the man upstairs. It's another illusion that's been spoken into reality.
Yep.
So now we all believe it. Then we move on to some more illusions. Politics. Right? That's been spoken into reality by the fact they're called,
Biggest one going.
they're called the commoners, right? And
Yeah.
they call themselves servants. But anybody who's got 2 working brain cells now knows this is another magician's illusion.
We serve them.
That's right. So these are the examples of how illusions are created by you speaking them into being. They cannot exist unless enough people believe that they are true. We're trying to burst these bubbles.
Bursting a few bubbles. Right, they'd got the nobles in place. They needed the noblemen, and the noblemen were given the first go with your missus when you were getting married, because they needed the bloodlines in place, because they knew there weren't enough of them to go around. So this is when it all kicked off.
I'm just laughing at go around. I mean, we think we're going in straight lines, and the language confirms we're going
We're
round and
going
round in
round
circles.
and round it's a spiral, isn't it?
Yes, it
it's
is.
a spiral.
Yeah. And we're getting deeper and deeper in.
Yeah, and this is where the Middle English came in. They had to adapt it again because we needed another revolution.
It was like an update, wasn't it?
It was
a Windows update.
We needed another Windows update. They were a little bit slower then.
Well, because they had to bring in the maritime reality.
Yeah, they didn't have megabytes and things like that
but
then.
If anybody wants to look on the internet at maritime law or maritime admiralty law, you'll see in the definitive there, and you can find it all over the internet, that the law of the sea was brought onto the law of the land by characterising it. In other words, if the things you did on land were in character...
In character.
Of a character that was from the sea, then it became business.
It was the business contract.
Was business. It was commerce. Now you were sharing the experience, and it was maritime in character.
Yeah, let's do the business.
And this is how they built this. Another reality called the person, the persona.
Yep.
And this is another illusion that we need to burst the bubble of deception. And the persona came in, and they told us that individual means one. But the word doesn't say that.
No.
It says in, divvy, dual. So split into 2. But that's what they did. They gave us a shadow man.
They did.
A hue man.
Of a man.
That's
Being.
right. Me and my shadow.
Yeah, it all drops into place, doesn't it?
That's right, yeah. It's remarkably simple. But at that point, we were letting them educate us, weren't we? We were believing this stuff.
Yeah.
The slaves had never been allowed to vote before.
No.
But they realised we were getting a bit uppity and we weren't happy. So they had to devise a system where the voting appeared to be representative of the wishes of the commoners.
Of the common people,
That's
yeah.
why we started with the song Common People. But look at the word. Common people. Pulp. Think about that. The common people have been pulped from the pulpit forever. Because we believe the altar.
Yes.
They've altered it. All right, they've altered it. So we don't know who we are. We know the word knowing, and we're told that knowing is what we need to learn. But knowing is just a spell of own king. And if you know you were your own king, then why would you say the word working? Right?
Yeah.
It's spelled W-O-R-K.
It is, but
but it doesn't sound like
sound
that, does
like
it?
that. No, it sounds like
Were
a king.
king. Yeah. In other words, past tense.
Past tense.
Past tense. We're now working for somebody else.
Yeah.
We're not working for ourselves.
No.
You see, we are king would be that you're doing it for yourself. But working would mean you're having to beg to somebody else for your supper.
Yep.
You know, and we were decked, weren't we?
Yes.
We were bloody
We were
decked.
decked, yeah.
And if you look at a deck of cards, you've got the hearts and the diamonds, which is love and fortune. Mm-hmm. But then look at the darker ones.
Of cards,
You've
yeah.
got spades and clubs. The clubs is what they've used to give us the spade to bury our bloody self
ourselves.
with. All right, they bloody clubbed us,
Yep.
and now here's the spade because you always bury your own. Right, well, they're not going to bury us. We're going to bury ourselves.
Yeah.
Look at the word spade. S-P-A-D-E. Sounds like S-P-E-Y-E-D. Can you get the connection? If you can't reproduce, you're going to die.
What do you do to your cat? Yeah.
That's right. If you
You
can't
have it
reproduce, you're going to
spade.
die.
Yeah.
Spade is the death card. Okay? And the club is what they've killed you with. Sorry, matey, I can't help it.
No, it all links in.
I know.
That's where the cards came from. That's why you've got a king and a queen and a jack there,
were
and
what-
a joker.
There were the troth cards, weren't there?
Yes.
There were
Yeah.
the troth cards.
Troth, yeah.
And troth was the word truth, and that's why we go to betrothed. Betrothed or betrothed.
Yeah.
That's where we go to betrothed. That's why we stand in church and betrothed, because the word is betrothed. You speak your truth in the eyes of your master, and then you kneel down and become the prey.
Yes.
You are the prey.
And you've got to kneel down to pray.
Yeah, which is exactly the same pose as begging.
Yeah, or kneeling down to get your head chopped off as well.
Exactly, and
Both
you do it. You do it
Assume the pose.
voluntarily.
Yeah.
You get on your knees, put your hands together in the form of a pyramid. Okay, put it to your nose, not to your temple.
No.
Forgotten what your temple is, haven't you? Forgotten where your bloody
Yeah,
temple is,
forgotten
have you?
where that temple is.
Yeah. We are the prey. And they prey upon us.
They do.
That's right. And we have a system. We still have a system of cows and bulls, don't we? Cowards and bullies.
Yeah.
And the bullies always run the playground. And what have they built for us? A bloody playground. That's what it is, isn't it? It's a playground.
And we write with a pen.
Well, you can write rights with a pen, can't you?
Yes.
You can write your rights with a pen, but you can also write wrongs with a pen.
Yeah,
See-
you don't want to be writing wrongs, really, do you? We want to
Well,
be
well,
writing rights,
But
really.
you want to be writing rights.
We do, really, yeah.
Writing wrongs is what we've been fooled by for ages.
It is, yeah.
That's why this show's called The Unpenned Show.
That's it.
That's right, because we broke out when we realised the power of this pen is illusion.
It is.
Okay, they build a pen, and I mean, you look at the horse and the pen. He can easily look at the bull, look at the cow.
Yeah,
they can easily knock those
they
wooden
could.
fences over.
Yeah.
But the illusion is they can't.
Yeah.
And they're frightened because the farmer feeds them, so they don't dream of escaping. Well, that's the pen we live in. We don't dream of escaping because we can't see the pen.
No.
But the pen is your front door. Oh, pen. This is the prison. The prison that you've been, that the bars that you're looking for, is your house.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one that it's not. It's not that you can't escape from it. It's that it's called a possession. Well, who possesses who? All right. You spend what, half or 3/4 of your life trying to own it.
Yeah.
And then when you've got it, you spend the last bit trying to bloody keep it.
I got possessed trying to possess it.
But that's what I mean. we don't. What's the word mortgage? We know what the word mortgage is. It's death pledge. Because they knew it's got mort in it, so we know it's got something to do with dying.
Yes.
Right? And we did know that it's called freehold. Because you can't have it.
No.
You can hold it.
We can hold it. But
You've got the freedom to hold it.
Yes.
But this is a feudal system.
Yeah, it should be called free have, shouldn't it?
It should be called free own.
free own, yeah.
See, but we don't own any ships.
Nope.
No ships.
We're
This
not-
isn't a game to raise all ships. We got thrown overboard 40 years ago in big numbers. We aren't ships. So now if you look at the economy, the ships of state, right? The people at the top, the super class, as I'm reading about, their ships are all rising.
They are.
Well, a rising tide should raise all
All
boats.
boats, yeah.
But we aren't boats.
Nope.
We're fish.
We're fish, yeah.
So the surface is getting further away. We have to swim even harder to get to the surface. Carry on.
It all links in. I'm going to come back to the ocean because It was called, the North Sea was called the German Ocean. And that's why you keep fish in the ocean. And I spoke about the English dominant, French and English, the noblemen. And as we've progressed, we got into 1604.
The King James Bonded Bible.
And that's where the first edition of the dictionary was published.
But not the one that we use today. But I'm aware that the King James Bonded Bible, all right, was 1604. Took about 7 years to write. They argued like hell. Took them 7 years.
They had the great vowel shift, which you've talked about before.
Which I've talked about before. But the actual dictionary that contains most of the words we use today was 150 years later. They had so much tinkering to do over time.
But the main tinkering they did at that point, with the vowel shift, was
Tailor, soldier,
spy.
Which came first, the spy or the spider?
Well, it was the spy, wasn't it?
It must have been the spy.
Spy to spy on you.
I spy with my little eye. It must have been the spy.
But the vowel shift, what it did, it shortened the language. We needed to shorten it. This was the first dumbing down.
This was the contract.
It was, yes.
This was
contract.
A contraction.
It was the first
make
contraction.
Smaller. And the maritime system demands clarity, brevity. What's the last one? Clarity, brevity, and concise. Is it concise?
Concise.
Clear, brief.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think.
Yeah.
The BCC. The BCC. Sorry.
And
just fits him as something else, but it's okay.
We moved on then. The banks were made. 1600s.
1694, the first central bank, the Bank of England, built with Jewish money.
It speeded along. It speeded along quite nicely. We speed along now. We're into the 1700s, and 1702, the first daily English newspaper, Kate, was born.
The North East, West and South News.
It was birthed. They birthed this newspaper, and it was called. Let me find my notes. The Daily Courant.
Marvellous.
Marvellous,
because we've always been the energy, haven't we?
Yes.
We've always been little batteries.
But they spelt the Courant Courant. Now, there is no spelling of that in the English dictionary. Courant.
So it was a Courant.
The Courant, the Daily Courant.
And what does that word mean?
I can't find it. I didn't have time to look it up. But someday, if somebody wants to do, they can do. I'm going to go back and look it up in my notes. There's a couple of other notes in here that I've made and kept, and I'm going to go back and do a little bit more bone digging. I've got to dig up a few more bones that people have digged for us.
Well, it's got the word courage.
Because we are dogs.
Cour. I mean, courage is what we're lacking, isn't it?
It is.
It is I mean, that's what's wrong with the people. I mean, we've been told we're weak and small and powerless and helpless and armless. So we feel that way.
That's the nearest I could come to in the dictionary was courage.
Yeah.
There was no current, how that's spelt, but there was courage. Okay. So I did see it.
We'll actually leave it for other people to research
the
word.
Yeah.
And we'll come up with our decode next week.
I'll see if I can come up with
I could do it live online now, but I'm going to leave it for people to do it themselves.
A bigger decode. But I just wanted to quickly go through it because this is Germanic. They've got the universities fighting over whether it is or it isn't, but it blooming well is.
The university, one voice for all.
Now, we speed through the 1700s, the Industrial Revolution, and we needed language for the Industrial Revolution because we needed people in the commoners, the bright commoners though. They had to educate people.
So they were morons.
They were morons.
Yeah,
yes.
Not lessons.
No, we didn't want.
Don't indicate bright,
we didn't want lessons. No,
lesson doesn't indicate bright. Moron.
No, we were looking for the morons.
Absolutely.
And they found the morons.
Yep.
They found them. So we whizzed into the. Excuse me. That whizzed us into the 1800s. Now then, the 1800s, we blasted through. The empire was at its biggest. We were raging through. We were raping. We were pillaging. And killing people, mainly.
It makes you feel proud, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
But it doesn't.
A bit similar to what we're doing now. Nothing's changed. Nothing changed. The only thing that changes is the time and what we wear. That's the only thing that I can see that changes. And we get a little bit dumber each time. Dumber.
Now we know people think dumber is to become more silly or stupid, but that's not true, is it?
No.
That's not true. It's to lose the ability to communicate effectively. To be deaf and dumb is not only to not hear, but not speak.
Rory Byrne talks of, in his paper that I read through today, that's partly I didn't have time to do a lot of research because I was reading Rory Burns' research, his paper, his thesis. But in Germany, there's a town called Clockler, where they make the Klockner rifle.
All right.
Machine gun.
Glock type.
Yeah, they say it's Glock, but it's spelt with a K, but it sounds Glock.
Okay.
Glock. But I may be wrong, I don't know. I might have read it wrong, but it's where the first dum-dum bullet was invented. And the dum-dum bullet...
That shuts you up communicating.
The dum-dum bullet is...
Yes, that shuts you up
That's
communicating.
pretty much going to...
You're not saying much after that. No, you're not really saying much after that.
But anyway, but it linked in nicely in what I was reading, because it's all about war. It's everything in this is to do with war.
Because when the Maritime Admiralty Law was brought in, this was declaring war on us.
On us.
The language confirms that we are the warred against.
Yes.
It confirms it completely. Mm-hmm. And we'll do it in a couple of weeks' time. We'll do the full language decode of how we can confirm that this is a war that we've been in for around about 200 years.
Yeah.
Pretty much the Industrial Revolution wasn't... It was the war started before then.
Oh, yeah.
This was to make us slaves.
Oh, it certainly
and
was.
To move us into the cities and to stop us being dependent. We had to go work for somebody else. Mm. And that's celebrated on... Is it still celebrated on the £10 note?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. We'll do that another time.
Yeah. What helped me with this, I must, is Carol Quigley's book. You lent me the book.
Tragedy and Hope.
Tragedy and Hope, yeah, in Our Time. A World in Our Time, it's called. It's a thick book. I'm into about 300-400 pages in at the moment. But just those 300-400 pages has helped me decode this. I've been through tonight.
Well, I'm reading Superclass, and that is teaching me so much because if we think me and you sat here tonight shouting at the Superclass is actually going to have any effect, they're going to quietly say, "Thanks very much, guys, for your show. I hope you enjoyed the fact that we built the entire infrastructure. We pre-planned everything that you've done. We pre-planned everything that, or we placed everything for you to find.
Yeah.
I hope you're enjoying your journey and the path that many people have been down. Enjoy the ride, guys, because we've put it here for you."
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
put it here for you to find.
When you get to the rarefied position that they live in, okay, and the people that they associate with and do deals with, cooperations, right? Corporations, that's because corporations aren't living. Yeah, but get with it. They're actually cooperations where they work together to enhance their joint interests.
Yeah.
This isn't called a plan because it's a game of chance. Okay? This is a community chest. And it doesn't belong to us.
It doesn't.
You can take a chance.
Take a chance.
You can, of course you can. Shall we have a minute?
Yeah, have
I'm
a
going
minute.
to play a song that probably...
And then we'll come back.
It won't appear on YouTube, this song.
No.
But it is Dido and Life for Rent. And I play this song, and we'll put a link to it below this video.
Yeah.
Because although YouTube won't allow me to play it for you, you can go and listen to it on YouTube. And I really would like people, if you're enjoying what we're talking about today, take a second, listen to this song, then listen to it again.
There's nothing I have is truly mine.
Hopefully Phil will leave the last "nothing I have is truly mine." I hope he leaves that in, because that is the basis of this song. You can listen to it by all means and say it's a boyfriend-girlfriend thing, it's a relationship breakup, it's the loss of whatever it is you want to claim it's the loss of, because that's what you're getting from this song. But listen a little bit closer and you'll find it's more than that. Okay, we had a beer break there, and we're back because you have got halfway through your notes, haven't you?
I have just about halfway through.
Congratulations.
Yes, I know.
I'm shutting up. Well, I'll shut up.
It links in very well, though. We talk about it all the time, and people say, "Oh, it says the same stuff over and over again."
Well,
yeah, we do,
because we don't really.
It's bloody important.
Well, we just repackage it.
Try find a different way of saying it.
Well, yeah, because we try and get people to repeat what we're saying.
Yeah.
But so they're comfortable doing it. And once we get them to take a closer look at the words that spin us into confusion, right, once we get them to look at the words start speaking back, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
You realise that God words are quite easy. They're just they're just put together like breakfast.
Yeah.
You know, you think it's that easy. You know, and tea time. and you realise that they're just built like everything else. It's been built from what already existed.
Yeah.
But the style sometimes changes.
It does, yeah.
But the building still is the same methodology. Good foundations.
Building
and
blocks
put
are
the
the
floors
same.
in. Put the floors
And
in.
there are a lot of flaws.
There's a lot of... We've
There are
built
a lot of
flaws into this building.
They have built a lot of
These
flaws.
stories have got lots of flaws in them.
But all on the same theme. It's all about war. Everything is about war.
Of course it is.
And they want us to... that's why I laugh when you say fight book. They want you to fight on there. We like... People put comments up on YouTube. We had a nice comment. Just the one, I think. Or for last week's show. From somebody down in...
Cornwall, I think.
Cornwall it was. But it
Cornwall,
was originally from Rotherham. Nice comment. I hope they're listening tonight. Or listening on YouTube again.
It's
Like
war
your
and
comments
peace.
on this.
But we've said this before. If
Yeah.
people can look a little deeper from the shallows that they're swimming in, right? Because the shallows make you think it's warm and safe. Well, that's nothing of the sort.
No.
Okay, that's not the way this is going to work out for anybody unless we start paying attention.
No, you've got-
And I don't know who attention is, but it is paying.
You've got to be sure about things.
Sure, yeah.
You've got
yeah,
to get
absolutely.
on the shore.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Well, I think I'm on solid ground now.
I think I'm...
And I'm not frightened of deep sea diving. I'm not frightened. I'll jump in with the sharks now. Because this is a battle of intelligence.
It is.
This is the pen is mightier than the sword. So bring it on. Bring it on, because the sword is just a spell of words.
It is.
That's... Carry on, sorry.
Right, we've moved on. We're into the 1800s. This is where it all kicks in. They were getting ready for the First World War, even back in the 1800s. And I'd love I don't want to get into an argument with anybody about it. Other people might have their other opinions on it.
But this is your decode.
But this is my decode. They were getting ready. They knew that war was the answer. That's all we've done is war, war, war. Now then, the 1800s, why do I think that we're getting ready for war? Because it was around about 1855. They were making maps because we'd been going all over the place, blah, blah, blah. I think the earliest map that was available was done in around about the 1500s of England, and it only covered a little bit of Scotland. But anyway, because we hadn't got that far yet, or we hadn't conquered Scotland enough yet.
There are some arguments about the mapping techniques that we used. But anyway,
What are
carry
given
on.
to-
I was going to say, I'm not here to pick
No.
minor faults.
Hist-
We know what happened. So
The-
let's go with
We
what
do.
we've got.
The victors always write the history books.
Yep.
That's what happens. It's just what happens. It's part of the spoils of war.
But what
You've
we're trying
won.
to do is to show people how this system is. It's controlled.
How it's
been
unfolded.
controlled for a long time. Okay, it's not a matter of us shouting at it and telling it
Nope.
to stop. It's not going to do that.
Nope.
It is a matter of us using the evidence that has been given to us, formulating it into, a convincing story,
Yep.
right, to enough people for them to say, they're a bunch of thieves, aren't they? They're just a bunch of pirates on
Yeah.
the high seas.
Yeah.
And they realise that to get to dry land and to reach the summit, they have to be pirates.
Yeah.
And stop us getting there first.
They do.
So they steal off us, so we can't make it. So they can build their ships and get to dry land.
And get to the treasure first.
And they steal everything off us, and now they're trying to steal our flags.
They are.
Right. So we don't even know what ship we're bloody on.
No, we haven't got a clue what we're doing now. We really haven't. We haven't. We're totally dumbed down, totally, and texting
And what
is
do pirates want? Pirates want you. They want your gold and your silver and your treasure.
your jewellery, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And your jewels
Because they're a
and-
bunch of thieves, and we call all those things collectively money.
Yeah.
And one decode for the word money is one eye. Yeah. What do pirates have in fairy tales? One bloody eye.
one eye.
And what does Pudsey Bear have? And
One
what does
eye.
he want?
He wants your money as well. Hey dear.
Makes you feel sick as a parrot.
It does, and it all revolves around the money. The printing presses, they were built, printing press. It wasn't only just to print literature and
No, when they realised they could print notes,
when
they realised they could print paper,
yeah.
that was the real start of it, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
about-
The French had done it a couple of hundred
about
years
the
before, by the way.
mid-1700s. Oh,
The
had
French
they?
had,
Yeah.
it'd been an absolute disaster.
Oh.
Absolute, but they knew, right, and they'd learnt from the disaster in France.
Yeah.
right? That they knew what to do this time.
Right.
Very
well,
clever.
What I didn't know as well, the link between Belgium and Britain goes back as far as past William the Conqueror and past into the Teutonics.
It must go to the Towers of Babel.
It must go that far back.
Because they've rebuilt them in Brussels.
And I'll link into Iran later on. Now then, what we've got now to is into the 1800s, and why do I think we were heading towards war, or they knew that they were heading towards war? Because the German Ocean was renamed the North Sea.
Uh-huh.
And that was around the turn of the century, the 1900s.
Right.
And the First World War kicked off 1914.
Yep.
So they knew they didn't have a lot of time to do this.
And they changed the name as well.
They did.
The Windsors, the House of Windsor.
Well, I was wrong. I said a few weeks ago I think they were brothers. They weren't brothers, they were cousins.
They were.
George V and the Kaiser
Yeah.
and Nicholas II, the Tsar, were all related through Queen Victoria and Albert. And it was brothers and sisters of Albert and brothers and sisters of Queen Victoria, how we come to get. And this is where the Denmark fits in. They've got a royal family.
Yeah.
Norwegian, Sweden, Spain,
yeah.
all the
Portugal,
yeah, they've and
Saudi Arabia.
they did all the plundering, counterfeit one.
Yeah.
It all links in. Now then, 1800s, changed the German Sea to the North Sea.
Yeah.
In readiness for they needed patriots.
You see, we don't understand that 200 years ago the communication that we have now wasn't like this.
No.
We didn't know these things. I mean, was there some statistic that the amount of information contained, new information contained in a modern newspaper today is probably more than the people picked up in a year from the surroundings, from the community, from the inflow of news, because their only news source was the church.
Yes, you went to church. That's right. Where you did your gossip.
And that's why he makes his north, east, west cross. Because he's bringing you the news. He goes in the name of the Father, and there's your north. And then the Son, that's the east and the west, because it goes east to west.
It does, yeah.
Right, and then the Holy Ghost, which he goes down to the south. You see, that's why he does it, because the Son is east to west. It's really simple.
It is, yeah. It is so how they've done this. And slowly catch the monkey. So we had to get Britain had to change. We'd done it with the Industrial Revolution, we'd done it with the printing press, we'd got people educated to a standard because we needed people to build not necessarily things for our good, which Brunel did, I suppose, bridges and sewers and things like this came along, but they realised they needed a healthy nation. That was the only reason. They needed healthy slaves, because they needed cannon fodder. And they not only needed cannon fodder, but they needed people to build the cannons and the bullets and the bombs and everything. And who does that for them? We do. The common people do. We have to go there to work in the factories, and we're thankful for it. And we give them some of our wage back to say thank you very much for looking after us. So this is where it kicked in. And this is where the Germanic language took over and spun its web and got more sophisticated. And the Germanic family of languages are English, Finnish, Dutch, Afrikaans, because we'd done Welsh. South Africa.
Welsh is in there, by the way. Welsh is in there, by the way.
Yeah, Yiddish.
Yeah.
And German.
Yeah.
Greek.
Yeah.
And the Indo-Iranian. Now, you just think what's happening now with the ganging up on Iran. It's just
they've been ganging up on Iran for 60 years.
What? And where was it? I think was Babylon in Iran?
Well, was it Mesopotamia?
It was on the Iran, because it was on the Euphrates and the Tigris, the rivers of Babylon, Persia. Yeah. So it all links in. It's all brilliant. They got, and we go then.
It's the same template, isn't it?
Same template.
It's the same thing played over again.
Oh no! And what? And then we went into the First World War.
Temple Gate.
And what brought on the First World War?
Temple Gate.
What brought on the First World War was the assassination of Franz Ferdinand.
If they say so.
If they say, well, this is as we said, the victor always gets to they needed something to kick it off.
Yeah, they did.
So was he the sacrificial lamb?
Who knows?
Who knows?
That's what they say.
This is what we're told. This is his story.
Millions of people died.
Yeah, and but what I get is the royalty are involved there. It's war, it's armaments, it's money, and nothing there has changed.
Nothing, and that's
Nothing there has changed.
Look around. Over the past 100 years, documented, we have worldwide more wars over the last 100 years than the entire remainder of documented history prior. And it's speeding up, isn't it?
It is.
Because the wars now never end. Because the arms manufacturers are enjoying the stream of income, the continual revenue. Yeah, and we're building a society on war. Look at what we're giving our kids to watch and buy and play.
Yep.
Primarily games of war.
War and killing.
And every time we've learnt throughout the cinema, the pictures, the flickers as they were called, and then they went to the flicks because they didn't flicker as much, and then they went to the pictures. And they always give us the films that predict the future. But predict isn't to guess. It's to program you so they can pre-say, because prediction is to tell you in advance. So it's a prediction. All right, and we think predictions just guess. No, it's like prescription. Okay, they tell you in advance. It's written in advance. That's why this world is scripted. And for those of these people out there who say, "Oh, Iran's going to fight back, North Korea's going to fight back, China's going to fight back, Russia's going to fight back," it's all scripted.
It is.
They would not leave this game to chance.
No,
okay,
not a chance of that.
The people at the top, the super class, the highest of the high, they puppet master all of this.
They do.
All of it. And they'll tell us that there's a deity that guides them, that they worship. Yeah, whatever. And this deity says, "You guys always stay on top. All right, you guys keep everything, and people have to suffer so you can have more and more and more and more." Hasn't documented history told us that these people, the world is never enough? They want it more.
More and more.
All of it. What a cracking hour you've just covered there.
Their playground, isn't it?
What a cracking hour you've just covered there. Any more you want to add to it?
Well, just quickly, just to finish off, we thought that the First World War, we were told the war to end all wars. What a load of nonsense. They'd already signed the 1918 Versailles Treaty was signed in 1918. And that treaty enabled Hitler to develop the Nazis. So it was done already, 1918, and they knew there was going to be another world war. They just knew. These things have, as you said, they've been scripted. We've done the word script. Oh no, we didn't do the word script, did we? It means strength.
We have ourselves.
It means arm.
We've done it ourselves. Yeah, it's arms, isn't it?
It's arms. Script.
Script is force, isn't it?
Force.
It was arms and force, wasn't it?
Arms and force.
That's why you get conscripted.
And we read the scriptures.
And people laugh at our word games, but these word games allow us to see more.
They do.
SEE and SEA. The duality has now been built. The laws of the sea, which is the trade routes. Because that's why the Empire really wanted to control the seas, because they could control the trade. And they were the pirates of the high seas. But the high seas now have been counterfeited into this online virtual reality. And if you take anything from here that you're not, it's called piracy. You know, they say piracy, but yet they get us to copy and paste everything. So what we're doing is we think we've got a genuine copy. Well, listen to that word.
A genuine copy.
A genuine bloody copy. But isn't that what we've always been buying? Fake watches, fake T-shirts, fake handbags, fake everything. Isn't that what the devil does? He gives you the counterfeit version and makes you bloody pay for it. We've got a fake high seas reality here. And I've said time and time again, and I'm going to keep saying it, the internet is the jail cell. It is what's going to capture us forever. Because it might be called a net now, but when enough people are in it, we will be using the World Wide Web. And they clearly tell you it's a World Wide Web. And once you're caught in a web, You're on a kill grid.
Yeah.
Right, you're stuck in a killing grid.
You are.
And
It's the
that
killing
spider
fields.
is going to kill you. All right, in the net you've got a chance. In the net you can still swim around. Okay, if the net's big enough, you don't realise you're in the net. Well, the net's big enough now, isn't it?
It is.
But they're going to start making it smaller.
Yeah.
This is where they start contracting the net. While making it smaller, you think it's getting bigger. So when we get to the fibre optic internet,
Yep.
it'll turn to the web, and we won't use the word net anymore. And the terminology of online will disappear. And I don't know what it will be replaced by, but it will be something that will change. We won't use the word online.
No.
And we won't have a keyboard.
No, they're going.
Because they've got to go, because the water reality is now disappearing. We've spoke about this many times.
Yeah.
They're going to withdraw the water reality. The key, the board, the online, the net, and the very money that signifies the water that the fish need to live.
Yeah.
So we know they're trying to withdraw the currency. They're taking away the keys and the boards and the net. And once you're in, because if you pull a net tight enough, it looks like a web. So while we think we're going to get a bigger deal in 2015 with the fibre optic version of what we've got now, it's not going to do that, is it? Because it's going to put a bigger reality into you, a smaller box. Sorry, buddy.
No, it all links in.
Of course it does.
There's synchronicity on it all. It's absolutely amazing.
But that's the only way it works.
And yeah,
It's the only way they can shepherd us along.
it is, and they've tried to make it
This field,
seem
the next field has to look better than the last
does,
one.
yeah, and they make it just that little bit more difficult to get there. You can see it, can't you? But just make it a little bit more. Oh, put a little obstruction in
But
where
the grass is never greener.
It isn't.
But still they get us in there.
They want
They get us into the next reality.
Yeah.
And we know the next reality is that, and it is Aquarius. And that's the water barrier.
Yeah.
They've got the water, which means they've got all the money.
Yeah.
Which means that they'll decide which fish live and die. We've spoke about this before.
We
and
have.
people think we're laughing. They think we're funny. We think we're being silly. The Decode confirms nothing of the sort, does
No,
it? It
it's-
confirms that the way we've brought this through, from the 1300s forwards, right through to now,
Yeah.
all fits in with our language decode.
It
And the
fits
future, as we've
perfectly.
been saying it, appears to be spot on. And they've got to take all the water representation away,
Yeah.
which means they've got to stop us using the roads.
Yes.
Right? They've got to stop us using the roads.
Yeah.
Eventually we won't be allowed to use the roads, because that's another water reality. And we won't go to the pitches and sit in rows anymore. They've got to go.
Yeah.
It's got to go. They've got to get us down to one. This divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Or why is it called divide and conquer? Well, I don't know, but a horse chestnut splits into two, and inside you've got to conquer. So they put an individual, and an individual thinks he's one, but he's two.
Yeah.
So he's been conquered. He's only half the man he thought he was.
Yes. It is brilliant. It's and how they've sold it to each generation of these elites. What they've promised them, I don't know. In my own mind, I think it's eternal life, or that they'll be able to come back, or whatever, because they were obsessed with the mummies and Egypt and all this kind of thing.
They actually see the singularity as their saviour. That's why they've built this mind of God type machine.
Yeah.
Omnipotent, omnipresent, see all, hear all type control grid. Because the singularity, as they describe it, I've heard this a little while ago, is that technology and its ability has a doubling factor. And that doubling factor is getting faster. And the abilities are doubling over time. And if it takes 10 years to double, then it'll take 5 years to double.
Yeah.
Then 2.5 years to double. Well, if you follow that doubling, the way they see it, at what point will computers start taking the development of technology upon themselves?
Yeah.
Then we are eliminated to the point. And they say that at that point of singularity, they will merge with that consciousness and technically live forever.
Yeah.
Because they see this suit that we live in
As
as
just
nothing more
than a shell.
it's stopping them. taking the next step to immortality. Is that true? I don't know. Is that what they say? Well, that's what they write about.
That's what they write about, yeah.
And that's what the scientists talk about. So is it true or is it not? It doesn't matter. That's what they want us to believe. It doesn't mean we do. But remember, everything we get told they're doing is so we want to repeat it for ourselves.
Yeah.
They say, this is what we're doing and it's successful for us. So we say, well, we should do it and it might be successful for us. So they get us to do it.
They do, yeah.
They get us to build it for them.
They do.
Because they tell us it's for us and then never give us it. They tell us that this technology, the utopia, the industrial revolution, the technological breakthroughs, you'll be sat at home, working 3 hours a day, living the life of kings and queens. Well, it hasn't worked out very well, has it?
Very well at
Not
all.
for us slaves at the bottom, has it?
No. In fact,
But
working
they always
longer
say,
hours.
support this and it'll be good for you.
Yeah.
And as long as they don't go too fast, we die before we realise we've been scammed. But technology is speeding up. The quickening is now underway.
It is.
So we can see the lies now.
Yeah.
And communications allowing us to spread the lies because they're obvious, no longer oblivious. So this worldwide communication spy grid, although I don't like it, I do spend an hour or two a week trying to use it for what I think is a good reason. The rest of the time I don't bother.
Good decode.
I've got chat rooms that I'm included in that I'm not going to tell them they're doing the wrong thing, but to talk about the set. I mean, what are they doing all day? What are they really doing? I mean, if you haven't woke somebody up, if you haven't intrigued somebody's curiosity, if you haven't learnt something that you can share with others that it'll give a positive reaction. Well, what have you done today? Because it has to have value. If it has value, people will want to invest in it.
Yeah.
So if people are ignoring you and laughing at you, you're not offering them anything of value. People will take something free if they think it's valuable. So if you're trying to make them look silly or ignorant or shallow, well, why would they buy that? If you're telling them bad news, why would they buy that? If you need to deliver bad news, you're going to have to make them listen by entertaining them.
Yeah.
Aren't we here to build up people who don't realise that they're not alone? Aren't we here to encourage people of a certain mindset to say...
That was the idea,
you know,
yeah.
I am here to try and help others who want to save themselves. Now, I do not, again, wish to make enemies, but if you're sat on the internet all day and drawing your benefits, you're not doing the right thing.
No.
You're pretending. Another illusion you've created for yourself.
Yeah.
That you're in the land of confusion, sharing and confusing and muddying the waters.
Yeah.
Get out of the land of confusion and do something today. Reality, you can taste it, you can touch it, you can smell it, you can feel it, and you can hear it. And it is not to be found in the virtual world of the internal network.
It isn't. No, definitely not. No, that is not going to be a saver.
What else you got?
Just to quickly... Just to finish off, what it brought me to then was we got through the First World War. They knew the Second World War were coming. It wasn't the war to end all wars. They set up the League of Nations in 1920.
The forerunner to the United Nations.
It lasted until 1946.
Yep.
And then they called it the United Nations. It started in 1920, January 10th, 1920, and ended on April 15th, 1946. Then they changed it to the United Nations.
Yep.
It had done its purpose. It had bamboozled enough people. But I can see why they keep changing things now, because people figured it out, don't they? Too many. If you leave it too long, too many people figured it out.
That's right.
So it went to the United Nations. Now, I did a quick... Google Translate. Unite, English to Latin. Uni is one.
Yep.
And then when you put in unite, it comes up adunare, A-D-U-N-A-R-E, and the Latin verb is to frame or lock up.
Yeah.
frame or lock up, and then I did nation, and nation is gens, it comes out, and that is a noun, is natio, and natio, and that means birth, born, race and class. And gens, which is nation, nation translates to Latin as gens, is stock, clan and race. So the United Nations is to lock us all up. It's not to keep us all safe. It's to do the total opposite, as you say. The devil takes it, turns it round and sells you a counterfeit version. It is not there for our good. The other word I looked up was I looked up common market as well. The common market was founded in March 25th, 1957. It was France, West Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Belgium and Luxembourg. Now then, Belgium and Britain have been in bed together for a long, long time. We think Brussels is a new thing, part of the common market. It isn't. It goes right back to the First World War. That was the only reason we got involved in the First World War, because Austria and Germany joined together to invade Serbia. And then they asked France to join them, and France wouldn't join them, so they invaded France. But to get to France, they had to go through Belgium, and that's when we joined the war. You're not having Belgium. And we joined in to stop them going into Belgium, to retake Belgium. So there's a hub there in Belgium. There's something going on in Belgium. We know there's things going off in Austria. There's all these little places where they keep havens for money, tax havens.
But the fact they've built the new towers of Babel there tells you that that is
the new Babylon.
Yeah, that is it.
And the other word I did was treaty. Now then, in German, it's
Doesn't that sound lovely?
Yes,
doesn't it?
Treaty. Because I did the Versailles Treaty, which let Hitler do what he did. It was meant to protect everybody and stop the war against. It was the war to end all wars.
And then
it wasn't.
They just grew another
they
generation.
Just grew another generation.
Part two started.
Yes, yeah, and they fueled him and gave him loans to get going and build up the country. It's all done behind our back, and the treaty in German is I don't know how to pronounce it, but Vertrag, Vertrag, and when you do the Latin to German, it is to contract. It's the Latin comes out contractus.
Marvellous. Even the language brother and sister is Germanat and Germanus.
Yeah.
But look at the word manager.
Manager's German.
It's German. It's a German.
It's a German word.
There is much to know.
There is
much to know, and we have you have absolutely loaded that with stuff today.
I have, and then finally what I did was I put in New World Order. Now that came out as the couple of translations, New World Command.
Yeah.
And in Latin it's Novum, Mundum, or Derum.
It's Seclorum, is it?
Novum.
Order Seclorum is what's on the dollar. But that doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. But it's the decode words that come up. And novum is political, innovations, loyalty, revelation, and tidings. And mundum is another word for world, but it also means cleanser. Wow. It means cleanser. And then ordinum, and these are the adverbs. It's in order, in turn, regularly, properly, successfully. That is the New World Order.
I think we can confirm that our suspicions from years ago that to figure out the decode for these words and to use the languages that we have and to try and go back to see the languages we had and to realise that they are nothing but a confused mixture to many. And the number of etymology books that I've read that have taught me nothing that I need to know.
Yes. Nothing that you need to know.
I read them, and I thought, that was hard. Mm-hmm. That was really hard to read. I can't remember half of it, and I can't figure out how to use it.
No.
No wonder them books exist. Another Tuesday.
Another Tuesday, yeah.
We've made our promises not to make the shows too long.
No.
Because we don't ask for any more of your time than we feel is as much as you can give.
Yeah.
So it is a very big thank you to everybody for listening. This is the show from Tuesday the 12th of March 2013. All the contacts, bottom of the YouTube. If you want to know how we do the words, primarily we just use dictionaries or even Google Translate.
Yeah.
Because Google Translate is as good as anything else. Look through the multiple possibilities for the word.
That is the
Multiple
key.
possibilities, because we have words in our language that are used in different realities. You know, we have there's such as shoe. Well, you wear shoes on your feet. You have shoes on a horse. You can say shoe to a cow. You see what I mean? You have to work out which reality, and then look at the word and look at the reality that you're trying to decode.
Yeah.
There's lots of other words, and we could go for a long time with these words, but I think you've absolutely loaded that with information that I hope
so.
people will actually go, I'm going to look a little closer at what it is that they're trying to spin me with.
Yeah.
Because they spinners, and the spinners could be called the whirrers. They could be called the whirrers. And the whirrers, once they'd finished the performance, would be called the words.
The words, yeah.
In the beginning was the world, and on the world lived the word. And everything that lives on this planet is the word, because it's been spun by the very thing that whirls. This study isn't easy, is it?
No, it's
Getting to the top of this summit seems an impossible climb. It's like a ladder,
it is.
and you've got to be careful not to jump on the back of a snake. Otherwise you'll be back where you started. So good luck on your climb, everybody. It's not going to be easy, and at many times it's going to be heavy going.
It is.
But we can do it.